Okay. Here we go. We're live. Welcome. Episode 3. Hopefully some folks will start jumping on and joining us. But I'm excited. Episode 3. Am I still a Christian? It's been a fast 2 weeks, hasn't it? It's at the beginning. I think when we first started this last month, folks were kind of like, "Wow, every other week." Is that going to work? And I got to be honest with you. The time is flying. It's flying by. So I'm excited that we're back at it one more time. Some folks are starting to come on, which is great. I'm excited that you're joining us, and we're starting episode 3. So we took the time and got ourselves together, got organized. No popping in and out of the room, and my wife was like, "Look, you're not going to be filming in no crazy places in the house anymore." So, we put up some images of some investments that we made. We're trying to clean it up, trying to professionalize it a little bit for our viewers. So thank you. 269 views of episode 2, and another 200 views of the encore that we did, where we had some technical difficulties last week, as you may recall. Those of you that joined us, or 2 weeks ago rather, those of you that joined us, the audio was kind of cutting in and out, and so we took care of that. And even with that, we still had more than 200 people join us. Knocking over my audio equipment. We had more than 200 people check out episode number 2. And then again, another 200 plus check out the encore presentation. So we're excited and looking forward to more participation, more feedback, and so just continue to share, continue to spread the love. You've heard us say it a couple times. Share the joy, spread the love. So continue to do that. Where we left off a couple weeks ago was talking about this idea of what is our responsibility when it comes to love. What are we required to do? What does that look like? And one of the suggestions that I made, and we kind of did a pledge, an affirmation, where we were going to commit ourselves to changing one person and one person only, and that was going to be us, the individual. That we were kind of taking a vow, taking an affirmation, taking a pledge to say, it's not my responsibility to change anyone else. It's not my responsibility to change my spouse. It's not my responsibility to change my children. It's not my responsibility to change my partners, my coworkers, my family, my friends. My only responsibility is to change me. That's how I'm going to start living out love, by not changing anyone else, focusing on myself and changing me. And so, we want to build on that, and we want to grow that practice. And I know that I owe you all a blog post, and that's on me. We got busy over the week, and so I apologize for not getting that out. It is written. We just got to edit, and we'll get that posted. That we'll talk a little bit more about how do we, particularly as parents, avoid this idea of, I got to change my kids. I got to, conform my kids. I got to mold my kids. And we're moving past that, and moving into a direction where we're going to embrace those around us, but we're going to focus on us, on number one, on me, man in the mirror. That's who I'm going to focus on changing. And that's what love in action looks like. And so we want to build on that. We want to take that to the next place. And what's interesting is there's a story that I wanted to share with you all that I think will help to kind of contextualize this. I see more and more people coming on, and thank you all so much for joining us. Love you, appreciate you. Don't have time to shout out everybody right now, but we're definitely going to make sure that we show you some love in the comments. So the story goes like this. There's a young man named Jamal, and Jamal was raised by his father on his own, single dad, raising a young man in the city, and did the best he could. Dad didn't have a lot of education, but had a lot of love, a lot of support, and was really committed to Jamal and seeing Jamal grow and prosper. And Dad did everything that he could and sacrificed and got Jamal through high school and through some scholarship, financial aid, Jamal gets accepted to college, gets through his 4 years, graduates with his bachelor's degree, and starts to go to work. And moves out on his own, gets his own apartment, and is really kind of making a go of it. And Jamal learned from his dad the value of going to work and showing up to work. And so Jamal went to work every day and loved going to work, loved what he did, loved having a job, loved having a responsibility, loved getting up early in the morning and giving himself enough time so that he was at work ready to go, bright and early. You know how the story goes. One of the first ones there, one of the last ones to leave, and started to grow within the organization, started to get more and more responsibility, showed some initiative, took on some projects, and was really starting to gain some success, gain some momentum. Jamal was the kind of guy that everybody knew by his smile, just this infectious smile that would not go away, regardless. If it was 75 degrees and sunny outside, if it was 23 degrees and bitter rain and cold, Jamal was smiling because he appreciated having a place to go to work every day and contribute to society and advance culture. And for all the people that celebrated Jamal, there were some detractors. There were some those that we call them haters, right? That didn't want to see Jamal do well, didn't want to see Jamal succeed. Not because Jamal had done anything to them, just didn't want to see the brother do well, didn't want to see him climb and grow. And so they would get together and they would conspire and they would try to lie and they would try to catch him and they would try to tempt him and get him caught up in this, that, and the other. And Jamal wouldn't go for it. And those that knew Jamal knew that he had a sterling reputation. Unfortunately, the haters, the co-conspirators, came up with a plan one day that worked. Caught Jamal in a tough spot. Didn't really do anything wrong, but it was a timing issue. It was a perception issue. And though the manager hated to do it, company policy put him in a situation where they had to let Jamal go. You would expect that Jamal would be furious at this, that he would be looking every which way, looking for someone else to blame, trying to go after those people that did him wrong, that did him dirty for no good reason. But that wasn't Jamal's story. Jamal held his head up high, thanked his manager for the time that they had together, for all the mentorship and opportunity that was granted with him, said goodbye to his co-workers, wished everyone well, including the haters, and went on about his business. Now, we would look at that situation, we would look at that story, and we would say, man, God, why'd Jamal get done so dirty? Here's the difference. Jamal did not equate his happiness, his peace, his joy with his job. Did he love his job? Yes. Did he love having somewhere to go where he could contribute, where he could add value, where he could be a positive example to those around him to support his organization? Did he enjoy that? Did he love that? Absolutely. Was that the source of his joy and his love? Absolutely not. His source, his love, his joy came from his Creator, came from above. So in spite of the circumstance, he wasn't swayed by that. That's where we have to get. We have to get to a place where we are so enveloped, where we are so wrapped, where we are so swaddled in God's love that circumstances don't dictate our frame of mind, our condition, our experience. But right now we do kind of a tick for tat. Some of us, this is not a universal situation. Some of us are right where I'm at, and they're like, Charles, I got that. I'm there. I understand that my job is a resource, but God is the source, and that's fantastic. But I think there are others of us, and I'm guilty of it. I'll put my hand up and say that there are absolutely times where circumstance influences the perception, the affection that I have for my Lord. where I allow circumstance to influence what I give, what I offer, the way I feel about my Creator. I almost, you know what it is? It's almost like a performance appraisal. That if God doesn't perform the way that I feel he should, the way that I feel I deserve, that's going to determine my level of affection. So if I don't get the promotion that I believe I'm entitled to, if I don't get the raise that I believe I'm entitled to, if I, let's be silly. If I get locked out of my car, oh God, here we go again. If the faucet in the bathroom breaks, if the fridge stops working, if there's a leak in one of the pipes, if stuff happens, all of a sudden it's like, well, God, where were you? Why do I have to deal with anything? And what Jamal learned is that his relationship and his affection, his love towards God was not determined by his circumstance. There's some interesting research I want to share with you all. I was doing some preparation for tonight, and I came across a very interesting report that I want to have an opportunity to share with you. I'm going to read off a list to you, and I want you to think about what the list represents. You know what? I'll even make it a little bit easier because I don't want to be that abstract with it, that obscure. So I'm going to read off two lists to you. Okay? So one list is the list of the top 10 wealthiest countries in the world. Top 10 wealthiest countries in the world. That's one list. The other list is the top 10 happiest countries in the world, okay? So top 10 wealthiest, top 10 happiest. I'm going to read those lists. You tell me what you think which one is which, okay? So list number one, Australia, Sweden, New Zealand. 7 is Canada. 6 is the Netherlands. 5 is Switzerland. 4 is Iceland. 3 is Denmark. 2 is Norway. Number 1 is Finland. Okay, you want to hear it again? So we'll do it again real quick. First list: 10 Australia, 9 Sweden, 8 New Zealand, 7 Canada, 6 the Netherlands, 5 Switzerland, 4 Iceland, 3 Denmark, 2 Norway, 1 Finland. My mother's already weighing in. Ruth is already weighing in. She thinks she knows. So that was the first list, okay? Here's the second list. San Marino. That's a small country near Italy. Number 9, United Arab Emirates. 8, Norway. 7, Ireland. 6, Kuwait. 5, Brunei. 4, Singapore. 3, Macau. 2, Luxembourg. 1, Qatar. And so Elder Herbert jumped on that as well. So, I think, you kind of, folks have kind of picked up on it. The first list was absolutely the top 10 happiest countries in the world. The top 10 happiest countries in the world. Australia at number 10, Sweden at 9, New Zealand at 8, Canada at 7, Netherlands at 6, Switzerland 5, Iceland 4, Denmark 3, Norway 2, Finland number 1, happiest country in the world. Top 10 wealthiest, number 1, Qatar, number 2, Luxembourg, number 3, Macau, number 4, Singapore, number 5, Brunei, number 6, Kuwait, number 7, Ireland, number 8, Norway, number 9, United Arab Emirates, number 10, San Marino. What do the lists have in common? One country is common between wealth and happiness. Norway. Number 2 happiest country in the world. Number 8 wealthiest country in the world. Norway is the only country that appears on both lists. There's no correlation, folks, between wealth and happiness. Wealth does not make us happy. And I think I get so caught up in trying to climb that ladder, trying to take that next step, trying to earn that next promotion, trying to get that next position, trying to get to that next level so that I can get more. But more what? More money, more problems. That's what Biggie said. And it wasn't until I started to get to a place where with more finance came more challenges. And it is a true statement. And you know what doesn't grow with wealth? Your love. Your love doesn't grow with wealth. Does wealth make some things easier? 1,000%. Would my life be easier with more money? Let me be clear. If some of you are sitting on some dough and you're figuring out where to go, please bless the boxes, okay? We could do something with more money. Absolutely. Is it going to grow my love for God? No. Watch this. Does more money grow God's love for me? You already know. You already know. More money is not going to do anything in terms of God's love and affection for me. God gets jealous of money because many times we make money our God. So how are we going to live out love? How are we going to live out this love revolution? How are we going to spread the joy by sharing the love? We're going to focus on changing ourselves and no one else. And we're going to move past this idea that circumstance equals my affection towards God. We're going to get to a place where our affection towards God has nothing to do with our circumstance. Nothing, absolutely nothing to do with our circumstance. Remember that when Jesus came, who did he hang out with first? I mean, where did Jesus go? Who did he reach out to? Let me read something to you. You all, many of you are familiar with this, but you know what? Let's read it together and let's remind ourselves of some things. So in Matthew chapter number 9, I'm trying to find the verse, so excuse me. Matthew chapter 9, verse 10. We're just going to read a couple verses together. Matthew 9, verse 10. And Jesus reclined at table in the house. I'm reading an English Standard Version. So if you're a King James person, you know, you'll hear some similarities, but there will be some differences. But just so you know, I'm reading an English Standard Version. And Jesus reclined at table in the house. Behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and were reclining with Jesus and his disciples. And the Pharisees, the religious leaders, saw this. They said to his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" But when he heard it, he said, "What? Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I came not to call the righteous, but sinners." Here's the risk. Too much wealth, lack of dependence on God. That's the risk. Does it mean that with wealth, with success, with prosperity, we become hubris, we become fools, we lose sight and we lose perspective? No. Lord, I want the opportunity to prove that with more wealth and success and influence, I can remain humble and I can remain prostrate and I can remain in a position where God is always the head and God is always the source. But could it be that with too much prosperity, we could lose perspective? Could it be that our Father, in his infinite wisdom, knows what we'll do with what? And he pours out onto those who can receive, and he holds back on those that could not. I want to get to the place where I have an opportunity to demonstrate my humility through prosperity. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure all the way up the ladder, my God knows that my affection is not influenced by my circumstance. That's how I'm going to walk out this love revolution, by showing that my affection towards God is not influenced whatsoever by my circumstance. Sunshine and rain, prosperity and lack. I want to be like Paul, that I find myself content in all things. I really appreciate your time. I know that you're waiting for it. He's excited. He's looking forward to it. He was preparing a little bit earlier. So once again, we want to wrap up tonight with a very special young man. Love him dearly. Really excited for him. Backed by popular demand, Mr. Charles Boss IV is going to take us out with a selection this evening.
Thank you, everyone, for having me. Today I'm going to be singing Made Away by Travis Green. Made away. Don't know how, but you did it. Made away. Standing here, not knowing how we'll get through this test, but holding on to faith you know best. And nothing can catch you by surprise. You've got this figured out, and you're watching us now. And when it looks as if we can't win, you wrap us in your arms and step in. And everything we need you supply. You've got this in control, and now we know that you've made a way. When our backs are against the wall, and it looked as if it was over, you made a way. And we're standing here only because you made a way. Thank you, everybody, for having me. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. Again, everyone, keep the comments coming. Prayer requests. We didn't get a lot of prayer requests last week. If you got prayer requests, please leave them in the comments. If you have questions, if you have questions, the things that you're dealing with, topics that you'd like to see us take on in the coming weeks, please list those. Please put those in the comments. And of course, once the video is uploaded, please share it. Help us to spread the joy by sharing the love. Episode number 3, Am I Still a Christian? Appreciate your support. Can't wait to see you guys in the future. Love you. God bless you. Be in touch.